Get smart with your spending with Nucenda's Breeze debit card. We've got your back by offering safe and easy access to your money. Never any hidden fees, just an account that makes sense. Download the Nucenda app to enroll in mobile and internet banking, managing your funds, making person-to-person transfers, and rounding up purchases to save. Visit Nucenda.org to explore Breeze accounts and join our credit union.
New members must be eligible for membership. Equal opportunity lender. Insured by NCUA.
Good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Inside Santa Fe Public Schools podcast. I am Joe Abeta, and this podcast is brought to you by Nucenda, proud supporters here of the Santa Fe Public Schools and great partners. I want to thank them for being our title sponsor for our podcast. Today, folks, we have a special guest. We have the Executive Director of Safety and Security, Mario Salbidrez, is with us today. How you doing today, Mario?
Doing very well, sir. How about yourself?
Good. Hey, thanks for coming in, spending some time with us. You and I have worked before at the city.
Yes, sir, we have.
Right? And used to be, what was your position at the city?
I retired as the Deputy Chief of Police for the Santa Fe Police Department.
Okay. And then you've been with the schools now for quite some time, right?
Almost 6.5 years now.
Wow. That's crazy.
I retired to take this job on. I felt that the job at the Santa Fe Police Department had taught me a lot, and I thought it was time to also give some of what I learned over to Santa Fe Public Schools and help our kids. So I'm happy to be here with the kids and see life in a different set of eyes.
Yeah, no, definitely. Let me ask you something. I mean, you coming to the schools, having a law enforcement background and then coming over here, was there, your thought process? You came in here, you did an analysis of what needed to be done at the schools. How did you go about doing that? I mean, kind of because you're looking at it in you have a plan you want to implement, right? As an executive director, there's things you want to do, right? Because it's what your goals are as far as security goes in the schools. What was one of the first things that you really wanted to do that when you came in?
Well, first of all, I mean, I don't know everything, so
yeah.
The first goal of starting a new position is coming in and seeing what's already in place and see if it's workable, right?
Yeah.
Every great leader and professional has a lot of great ideas, but
yeah.
then you have to look at what's already there and what the community is asking for when it comes to the service you're going to provide to them.
Was that easy for you because the community, right? It's always easier. Santa Fe's it's a different card, right? It's very unique. We're called the city different, not just because, we're called the city different, and people that are from here understand why we're called the city different. So that made it a little bit easier for you, right, to hit the ground running when you came into the schools, right? As opposed to someone that was to move out of state and have that position.
Oh, absolutely. We definitely are the city different. I've raised 3 girls in the city different. I'm still raising 3. I have 3 grandkids. I have nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty familiar with how the city likes to operate, what the expectations of our citizens are, and what we have a palette for, basically, what type of services we want. So as a parent, I was able to look at what difficulties I saw, the insecurities I felt when my kids were coming to school, and just was able to take a omniscient view of what we had in place. And there's always room for improvement. My predecessor did a great job of getting the foundation laid.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, how much more can I build off this foundation, and how much more foundation do I have to lay to continue to expand the program?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. It's always good though when you get someone, like I said, with your background, man. It must have just been. It's just great to have someone like you to be able to do that, because you think about things 2 steps ahead of what you may need, right, to meet a problem and say, hey, we're ready for that. Right?
That's correct. I mean, I'm very fortunate in that it wasn't just myself who came over. I had a captain of the Santa Fe Police Department who had been with me since we started as state police. He moved over to Santa Fe Police Department as well shortly after I did. And when I retired, he was eligible to retire as well shortly after. And I said, hey, there's an open position or vacant position with the Santa Fe Public Schools as emergency manager. Would you like to come on over and continue to help me to build this program now here? And he did. He retired. He came over. So we had two people who had been in preparing events such as the one that's upcoming this weekend for Zozobra.
Yeah.
Mark Lewandowski, he is now currently the deputy director of safety and security, was responsible for the operational plans of Zozobra, which runs about 60,000 people in one night alone. So for him to come and venture onto this task and challenge with the Santa Fe Public Schools was not an unfamiliar territory for him.
Yeah.
So he was a compliment to me to come on over, and together we put our heads together, our thoughts together, and we said, oh, this is great what we have in place, but let's start to expand. And we started to be able to look at different things. For example, before I came here, the thought had never been approached is, if we have a situation at a school and we go into a lockdown, what do we tell the students and the staff who are outside in the playground? Where do they go? What do they do?
Yeah.
We, from my understanding and evaluation, nobody had really given them a clearer picture of options. So we went into that and we started coming up with plans and looking at options that they had. And we ended up creating a video to help them out with that as well, to explaining not just the lockdown procedure, but various activities that we take during a threat that happens to our schools. And one of them was, what do we do if there is a situation you can't get back into the school, or the dangers in the school and you don't want to get into the school? And we started talking about those options, and we simply teach our kids and our staff that if the danger is in the school and you're already outside, go out to the community. We do have a lot of great community members who are willing to lend a helping hand during the time of need, especially for our kiddos, that they'll open the door. And I said, you open the door, you go in there and you call 911 and you let them know, I am teacher so-and-so. I have 7 kids that came with me. There's a situation going on at our school and we had to leave the campus. I guarantee you that Santa Fe Police, the Sheriff's Department, State Police will send everybody they have available to help us out.
Yeah. That's one thing I noticed about law enforcement here, is that there's some, we all have ties to this community. Some of us grew up together, some of the law enforcement, and we all tend to, so we care. So if there's something that does happen, we're there at the drop of the dime to make sure, if something, having to do with safety or something like that happens, they're able to communicate and be able to work well with each other, much like they do with Zozobra. I mean, everybody's there, right?
Exactly.
Sheriffs, police, PD, state police. I mean, we're all working together. So,
well, absolutely. And I think that's why it's called the City Different, is because we all grew up together. We all depend on each other, and we have this sense of loyalty to each other, to that when we call and need help, one of the persons who's closest to me regarding this at the Sheriff's Department, I know the sheriff, Alan Mendoza, I know him, and I know the undersheriff, but the person who I was more closer to, or still am, is the Major, Gabe Gonzalez, because we grew up together.
Yeah.
We went to school together.
Yep.
So if I call the Major and I said, I need some help, he's like, Mario, what do you need? How can we work together? And he's always open to that, which makes a great relationship, which then that trickles down to all the schools, to all of our staff, that they are getting that benefit as well.
Yeah.
Coming from the Santa Fe Police Department, I can't speak how much of a relationship we have there. We've got commanders in there that we came up the ranks together. We were in the trenches together, as they say it.
Yep.
So they're also willing to say, I'll drop everything and go help you out, Mario. So again, it trickles down to our students and staff at every single school when they're willing to help us out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So with that, let's talk about the safety measures. What in the public schools, what safety measures have been applied at Santa Fe Public Schools, Mario?
Well, our approach for the safety of our schools, we take a 3-layered approach. What that means to us is we look at our fencing, which is the curtilage of the school. We work from there and say we put up fencing, we put up gates. We try to create one single point of entry into onto the campus. And then once you're in the campus, we go to the second layer, which is the building itself. How do we fortify that building and make it sure that only one point of entry into the building's available? We add camera systems, we have access control systems, and so forth. Then we go into the next layer, which is the interior part, which then this also still utilizes a lot of technology, such as the Raptor system. It's a visitor system that checks for sex offenders or people who have been not allowed anymore at the school for one reason or another. We have a verification process with our front office, which now we encompass the whole process of our staff being part of the solution to try to keep our school safe. So we taking each layer takes multiple different views and opportunities to create safety measures in place so we can continue to build on that to hopefully deter anybody from wanting to come into our schools and harm our students and staff.
And so, wow, that's pretty incredible. I mean, I didn't even look at it that way, but it's like breaking down the buildings, right, of the properties, and then putting those gates. And I'm not saying necessarily physical gates, but they could be virtual gates too as well, right? And doing an analysis. And it's funny, you had mentioned cameras in this whole thing, and let's talk a little bit about that. You guys have a lot of cameras down, and it's funny because I know that another school district that my kids went to, it was all about, man, you can't go anywhere without being seen about something happening. So, and it's the same here as well, right?
That's absolutely true. We have increased our camera views by a lot. I mean, we're talking 122% more cameras than we had when I first started. Now, that does not translate that we have 122% more cameras. We have 122% more camera views.
Yeah.
Meaning we also embrace the technology, how it came up from the time that first got started. So a camera previously, to look in two directions, you had to install two cameras. But now, to look in two directions, you can install one camera with two lenses looking in opposite directions. You can install a camera that looks in three directions, or you can install a camera that looks 360 degrees. So that's what we're doing. We're replacing old cameras with new technology that gives us better views. But we don't,
and HD, right? I mean, or even 4K.
We're doing 4K. We're increasing our megapixel ability. We're using a lot of pan tilt zoom cameras so that we can focus closer into areas that are further away.
I've seen it. It's great. It's insane how you can focus in on what a door may say or a sign may say from a far distance. It's incredible.
Correct. But I want to make sure that people understand that it's not just myself and my team going out there and saying a camera here and a camera there, and we got to do this. We listen to the staff. We asked our principals, and the principals asked their staff, where are the problem areas? Where can we benefit from a camera to deter bad conduct or bad activities in that area? That's one component. We also go in there and evaluate the request to see if it makes sense, if it's something we should be doing.
Yeah.
And we also look at, did they miss something that we're seeing that we can add and complement to what we already have? But the biggest component, in which makes me smile every time it happens, is there are many times we're at the schools and we'll have students come up to us and they'll say, you know what, you should probably have a camera over here. And we'll say, where? And they'll say, let's go for a walk. And we'll go for a walk with this student and they'll show us an area where they feel we need a camera because things are happening that we may not know about.
Yeah.
So a lot of that comes from them as well. So they're buying into the whole program that we started many years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago. We started a slogan at the Santa Fe Public Schools for the safety and security, where we said security of the schools is a shared responsibility. It doesn't fall just on my department. It belongs to the principals. It belongs to the janitors. It belongs to the cafeteria, our population, our students, and parents, grandparents, everyone else out there. If we all together keep an eye out for the safety of our kids, our schools, hear things, report back things to us, we'll make the school safer. So I really love the fact that these students bought into that. I don't even know if they knew the slogan. I think they just felt comfortable that this is something we try to make ourselves approachable. So that they can come to us with problems.
Yeah. No, that is awesome. All right, Mario. So what else do you guys have going on in the safety security for schools?
With the permission of our previous superintendent, Dr. Veronica Garcia, our current superintendent, Eladio Chavez, I've been granted the permission to bring in different programs and try other options that exist for us. One of them we've had in place for some time now, in which every year we push it back out to make our students aware of them, is the Sandy Hook Promise, which is an anonymous reporting system that allows students, and including parents and regular citizens of our community, to report concerns they may have become aware of. And if they fear that they don't want to be known who brought this forward, it's anonymous. It is monitored 24/7. If it's a life or death situation, an imminent threat of sorts, it is immediately reported to me, whether it's during school hours or after hours. So we keep carrying forward with that program in our schools. It's still there today. We do threat of harm assessments that we combined with our student wellness department. So if we hear of a student wanting to make a general threat to the population, to a particular student, they do a threat assessment to see how viable that threat is and what type of plan we can put in place to prevent this threat from moving forward. We also have our Raptor drill management system. We brought that in board not too long ago, which that helps us to monitor and make sure that our schools are up to date with all the drills that they have to do per state law, plus the ones we add in there as well to make sure our staff and our schools are prepared for the event of an emergency if it comes forward. We also provide emergency supplies to all of our classrooms. All these supplies are meant to be if a student and staff member has to remain in a classroom, they can remain in a classroom for a couple of hours if it's necessary. There's food, there's water, there's other necessities that they need to make sure that they're going to be okay and remain in that classroom for a good amount of time.
It's interesting because when you think of safety and security, it's not just letting people in and out and controlling who's coming in and out of the campus, right? And then also maybe, something happening at the schools or something, but some, I don't know, student shenanigans or whatnot, but it's a lot of other stuff too. It's the the first aid supplies and all that's going on that you guys have placed there too. You're thinking of those other things in case of emergency. What else are we going to need as far as the tools that are going to help us be the best, most successful during times of emergencies, right?
Exactly. I think we look at it from the point of sustainability. When we get into a defensive mode, a protection mode, we have to sustain our students in there, that they're safe, that they have the needs to stay in that classroom for an hour, 2 hours, what it may be. So yeah, we're always thinking ahead of various different things. We have a lockdown bucket. I'm not too sure if a lot of people have heard of this. It's a bucket that has a toilet seat. We may need to go to the bathroom. We're in an emergency. So I teach a lot of the kids. They say, how do we use this? I said, well, think about going camping. If you had to go camping, where do you go poop?
Yeah.
And they're like, outside. I said, yeah, well, this is similar to being outside, but this is in the can, and here's your toilet seat, and this is how you would use it.
And if you're in lockdown and you got to use it, right?
Correct.
And we wouldn't even thought about that, but yeah.
And we have a gel that they call poo gel that we pour in the bucket so that, it doesn't slush around. It kind of absorbs the liquids and makes the deposit a little more solid. So,
there you go.
Yeah, so we think about that. But we also think about what happens after the fact. If this bucket was used, we're going to have a really bad smell, right?
Yeah.
We have a seal lid. The lid seals the bucket.
Oh, wow.
And which holds the odors inside until facilities can come around, pick those up and discard them, right?
Yeah.
Because we have to think about that foul scent that's going to be present as well. So we kind of have to do a full wraparound.
Well, that is some very, very specific stuff, but you wouldn't think about that. But that's pretty cool.
And we have a lot of different other items in place. We started something that I'm very proud of. We installed Stop the Bleed kits in every single school.
Yeah.
The state of New Mexico does not require that. I did some research when I came on board. Texas was requiring it at all their universities and schools. And I said, well, why can't we do that? If we are truly going to prepare for the worst, let's prepare. And I've always said it. I hope these items rot on that wall.
Exactly.
But they're there just in case. So we installed Stop the Bleed kits. Now, the biggest challenge with Stop the Bleed is how do I train 2,000 people plus students plus parents on how to use a Stop the Bleed? So we researched it. We found a company out of Colorado that actually created an app that teaches you how to use a tourniquet. The majority of us don't know what a tourniquet is.
Yeah.
The majority of us don't know what a quick clock is and how to use it.
Yeah.
And this app will walk you right through everything during the whole process. It'll ask you if the person is bleeding, where they're bleeding, what type of item you should use. Now, let's say they say, retrieve the tourniquet from the kit. You're like, what's a tourniquet? It will then say, it's labeled C1. So now you know you're looking for something that says C1.
Pretty cool.
Then it walks you through how to use it.
Yeah.
So those are items that we had. We then move forward, and I have athletes in my family. My girls love to play sports. They're in basketball, boxing, dance, all that stuff. And during the research I did is our athletes are very prone to probably go into cardiac arrest or having some heart issue, right? But we had limited AEDs in our school. So our deputy director, Mark Lewandowski, championed the goal to get an AED in every school, and we got there. Yeah. We have an AED in every school. And AEDs
are like our machines that you hook up to someone that send a electrical frequency to their heart to be able to start their heart up again.
Absolutely. Exactly. Plus, we also have a Spanish-speaking population and said, well, they also have to be able to use it. So we selected an AED that speaks English and Spanish.
Oh, wow.
We also selected an AED that previous AEDs, you had to switch out pads for babies. This one you don't. You just simply push a button and say it's baby mode now. It recognizes you're going to apply this to a baby.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little bit easier. It also walks you through CPR, so chest compressions and things like that.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. And I've seen it. You guys had it, I think, when you gave us a little presentation, how it speaks to you and it walks you through everything. It's pretty, keeps you right on track.
Right. And during an emergency, an event like that, it's stressful. It's hard for some of us to work through it. So if we can use technologies to help us and support us to do the best for somebody who needs our help, then that's why they're there. But again, I hope they rot on the wall.
Yeah.
I hope 7 years from now we have to replace them and we haven't had to use a single one. But the day that it comes that we need to have one available, it's there.
It's there. Yeah. That's good to know. Definitely. Awesome. Anything else?
You know, there are a lot of programs that we have in place this year. I challenged myself and my team that we don't remain stagnant.
Yeah.
That we always keep looking for the next and best thing to adopt into our schools.
Yeah.
We're currently working on quite a few different projects. We test them. Not everything fits, but I'm not scared to step outside the box, try something, look at it, determine if it fits within our program, if it's an acceptable option for our community as well.
It's interesting, because I've covered board meetings before, and I've seen both your last two presentations of your safety and security updates, your annual safety and security that you give to the board these last couple of years. Last year, I remember just because it's more recent. But it's just really impressive on what you guys are doing and the little things that you're thinking about that other, the common folk that wouldn't be in that frame of mind wouldn't think about that you guys are thinking about. And I just think it's really impressive, man, about what you guys have been doing, what you've implemented. Definitely.
I really appreciate it. I want to talk about one little item, last one before you kick me out of the office here.
No, that's fine, brother. Yeah.
But I really am excited about this because I always worried about my little ones when they were tiny and they would they were out away from me. I was a very protector. So we actually implemented this little thing for our K through 6. A lot of our students have been to amusement parks. They have a little wristband. Yeah. And when we sat down one day and said, how come we don't create little wristbands for our kiddos, our little ones? So we have an emergency. We know who they are. We know who their teacher is. We know the name of the parent, their phone number. So we have these little wristbands that we came up a year ago or so that we can add all this information during an emergency. So if I show up, you show up to a school, we don't know their students, but now we will know their students because we can say, hey, little Jimmy, come on over here. I know you belong to Miss Baca. Well, we're going to get you to your mom and dad. I know what their mom and dad is. And we also know one very critical component. Are they allergic to something?
Yeah.
Maybe we're giving them snacks and we shouldn't give them peanuts or something.
Yeah.
It has a place for, say, allergies. If this person
or the student
is allergic to a particular type of food, they note it there. And it's really helpful. It's little things like that, I think, that we as the adults should be thinking for our little ones.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's why they trust us.
Yeah, no. It's pretty incredible, brother. You guys are doing an awesome job. I mean, just from all the things that I've seen, and I've seen in presentations in the past, it's good to know that we have your department there overseeing us and making sure that everyone's safe in Santa Fe Public Schools and the community. So thanks again.
Thank you. And it is my honor to be working here. It is my honor to be serving these little guys. Like I said, they refreshed my life and my outview in the world, coming from law enforcement where I only got invited to the bad times of people's lives. Now I get invited to the fun times and celebrations and the joys. And they make me look at, the blue sky again, looking blue. Yeah. The green trees and the flowers blooming make you look at them again because it's new to them. And they refresh you as well as a person.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Mario. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, anytime, man. We got to have you on more often, man, just to give updates and stuff too to the community out there. So they know the, public schools community, that they know what's going on. So appreciate it.
Happy to do so, sir.
Yep. Thank you folks for listening. Again, you were listening to Inside Santa Fe Public Schools, brought to you by Nusenda. And we'll be back next week, folks. Have a safe week. Have a great week. Adios.